Welcome back. I am trying a brand new sketchbook today. It is the Sekai. It's a new sketchbook. I've never tried it. It's 100% cotton. The pages are nice and thick, 300 GSM. And I liked the rounded corners. I think that works really well. So here I am just flattening out the pages. And I always do this at the very beginning, is I swatch out the colours in my palette. But because I'm travelling, I don't have my brushes handy. So I started to get out my travel brushes, and I was surprised. I have a lot, a lot more than I thought I did. All of these are from Rosemary & Co. and they're all different. So I think this one's a size 4. I have my dagger brush, my flat bristle. I use those two a lot. The longer flat bristle, rarely use that. The rigger, a filbert, a smaller dagger, but I rarely use it. I use the bigger one more. A size 4 and an eradicator brush. I've got a couple of very small ones. This one was the first one I ever bought. It's lost its tip, but it's still pretty good. And I have a smaller one that's kind of a small rigger. So noticing I made marks on the page, it didn't come off. So I go through and I just swatch each one of the colours, and that helps me because when I go into a city or something like that, I generally have my sketchbook with me. And by doing this, what I can do is I usually write down the pigment colours that I have, and that helps me if I go into an art store and I need new paint. I can get exactly the same paint by a different supplier if I need to, but it's the same colour because the pigments are the same. So I generally do this so I can match that. And it kind of helps me figure out what I've got in my palette. My palette rarely changes. And I noticed specifically when I was doing this swatching here, there's still a lot of colours in this palette that I do not use. So I don't even know why I've kept it in there. But I'm not sure if I even call them convenience colours. It's just a habit now that they're always there and the tin is nice and full. And so that's why I keep them. But most of my colours are Winsor & Newton, except for one in this palette. The only one is the Daniel Smith Moonglow, which I bought. I liked it at the time, but then I realised that it's not light fast. So I don't use it in my work because I want my work to be light fast. I want it to stand the test of time, essentially. There's also a Potter's Pink in there, and I got it thinking I would really like it, and I don't. I don't like it at all, but I've kept it in there because I notice sometimes I do use it because of the way it granulates. So it kind of separates and it makes really interesting patterns and textures. Another thing I noticed is just how much raw umber, burnt sienna, raw sienna, and yellow ochre I've got in my palette, which I rarely use, but I do keep these 4 earthy colours in my palette because mixing these 4 with the permanent rose makes great skin tones. And sometimes if I want a darker skin tone, I'll mix a little bit of the purple dioxide in, or violet dioxide, and that makes a really beautiful darker skin tone. So I keep these in for when I do swatches, or like skin swatches, or I'm finding a skin colour for when I paint my girls. So that's why they are in. I rarely use them in my landscapes, but I'd like to try. This colour, Cobalt Turquoise Light, I use all the time. And this is Prussian Blue. I don't use it very much, but I like it a lot. So that's in the palette. I have Handmade Gold and Handmade Silver in there as well. And some of these darker ones are Payne's Grey and Ivory Black. Now Payne's Grey and Indigo, they're made of the same 3 pigments, but I find that I always go for Indigo more because I like that it throws more of a blue tone, and I tend to like that much more than the Payne's Grey. The Payne's Grey is great, but I tend to go for the Indigo more. I just swatched the Moonglow it's fine, but like I said, because it's not light fast, I rarely use it. So I've got my husband's grandfather's fountain pen. I love it, but it is a real pain to use because it doesn't seem to want to write. So if anyone has any tips on how to get this thing to write, I took it into the pen shop and they said it was wonderful, it's great, but it just doesn't write for me, so I don't know how to make it right. I did discover after a while, and you'll see in a little bit, there was actually no ink in the canister. So I'm trying all the little tips and tricks. I was untwisting it. I was trying to push down the ink a little bit more in the canister until I finally realized there wasn't enough ink in there. I did put more ink in, and after that I could write a little bit, but then I swapped over to my regular fountain pen that I use every day. And what I do is I write the color names and I write the pigment numbers on each of those swatches. And what that does, it just gives me a reminder of what's in my palette and what I can use. So I hope you enjoyed this little look into my color palette and swatching it out. I have some great little miniatures that I did during the same session. I'm going to make them into separate videos so they're not too long. And some of them are really, really cute. I hadn't been painting for quite a while because I've just started my 1-year artist residency in Asia. So it's taken me a long time to get organized in that respect, but I just love just sitting down and just painting and just doing things like this. I think this is very therapeutic as well. Cleaning up my supplies, looking at what I've got, figuring out how it all works. I highly encourage you do this. It kind of gets that first page out the way as well of a new sketchbook, and that way you don't have to worry about it too much. So you can see here I finally figured out that it wasn't full, my pen. I use platinum carbon ink, and I have always used this. The reason being is that it's waterproof and it does not budge. Once that ink is dry, I can put so many washes over it and it stays in one place. And I really like that for my ink drawings. I haven't done many ink drawings lately, but I plan to as part of this residency, just to keep exploring, as well as the landscapes, but I really want to push the boundaries with everything else that I do here. So I hope you enjoyed this little section, and I look forward to seeing you in a later video when I do some miniature landscapes just for a warm up for this second page of my sketchbook.